Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for joining me tonight. And I would like to thank ProArts for partnering with me on this exhibition. I've been a ProArts member since I believe 2018, and I love the organization of arts organizations. I do feel as though ProArts is very involved with the community and helping artists put their work out there and get involved in various spaces throughout New Jersey, and I love that about them. So thank you, ProArts, and thank you, artists, for joining me in this exhibition on joy. I personally have been feeling the need to, just the past, I'd say 5 years have been very difficult, both politically and especially with COVID and everything. And I just felt like I needed a way to put positive energy out into the world. And I was hoping that this exhibition could do that for not just me, but for others as well. So that's why we're here tonight. So thank you. We have 16 ProArts members in the exhibition. Louis Alves, who is not here, I'll have to scold him later. Kay Brown, RitaMarie, Cimini. Oh, and if I, by any chance, mispronounce anyone's names, please correct me. I don't want to do that to anyone.
So I pronounce my last name Cimini.
Cimini.
C in Italian, but it's not a big deal.
Thank you, but thank you for correcting me, because so RitaMarie Cimini, Dorie Dahlberg, Aaron Dunkel, Jim Fallon, Bennett Gerwitz, Cheryl Gross, Debra F. Livingston, Beatrice Mady, Brian McCormack, Alpana Mattel, Harold
Olejarz,
Vince Salvati, Joan Sonnenfeld, and Peter Tilgner. So I'd like to thank you all for being part of this exhibition, and let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen with all of you. And can you all see this?
Yes.
Great. So Joy is online through September 1st. And you can access it both through the Art Hustle website and ProArts website. And so we're on the Art Hustle website at the moment, and you can see it here. And I'm gonna just move this over here. And so you can just go onto the website and enter the exhibition or start a guided tour. We're going to enter the exhibition, that way we can take time on each person's piece of artwork. So when you click on this, it just kind of tells you the general way to navigate the Kunstmetrics website through the arrows and whatnot. And we're going to enter in on full screen. And we're going to get started. So we have Joy presented by Art Hustle and ProArts Jersey City, August 5th through September 1st, 2021. Thank you for joining us. And our first artist is Bennett Gerwitz.
Hi, thank you for including me in the show. This is probably one of the more joyful pieces that I do. I don't really do things that I say are joyful. The art that I do is very objective, kind of taking a view of very ordinary objects and mashing them up and painting them and kind of making you look at things a little differently. This is the first painting I did that I was not a pandemic painting. I spent the last year doing paintings that I thought related to the pandemic, and they were very different than things that I normally do. This was the beginning of spring, and it is taken from a photograph of a display of watering cans at a Home Depot. And you know, I did what I do with that kind of thing. And just while I was painting it, I was actually thinking that spring is coming and maybe the pandemic is ending and It's really nice. It's called For the Flowers. And, you know, I can't wait to grow the flowers on my deck and all sorts of things. So when Joy asked to present things that brought joy, I'm sorry, when Christy asked us to bring things to express joy, I thought of this painting and submitted it because it brought joy to me. And I think it's a joyful image. So that's about it.
And it is, and I really love the color combination with the pinks and the greens. That's one of the reasons why I chose it. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
And one of the things I want to mention before we move on is when you are in the website, you can click the info button and it brings up all of the information about each artist, their bio and their statement as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so the next artist is Harold, and this is Butterfly on a Thistle.
Okay. First, Christy, thank you for doing the show, and thank you for an interesting take on it. There have been so many COVID shows that relate to, well, how talk about your angst, talk about your horror, talk about how you survived. So this take on COVID was a very refreshing one for me. During the crisis, I think nature becomes overwhelming. The notion of the virus, sort of nature gone mad, attacking humans, killing people. So in this piece and in the other piece, showing the insects alive and the plants alive, it's sort of the good side of nature, that there is hope and joy and life that despite COVID is going on. And there's great joy in seeing you know, a butterfly check out a thistle.
Very nice. And I believe you are also in the next slide. Yep, Bee on Daisy. I particularly enjoyed the bumblebees just because they are just so adorable.
Yes, yes. You know, similar concept. Just, you know, in terms of technically, the way I make my pictures is I take one of my photographs and then I sort of cut it up into a slice, and then I rotate it in Photoshop and do some editing along the way, and then sort of put it all together so they all wind up, you know, in a sort of a circular format.
Very nice.
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
Actually, I want to comment first on the first painting because I didn't initially quite realize that it was watering cans. And when I saw it was watering cans, I mean, yes, the colors were wonderful, but I just loved it. All those squished up watering cans. And, you know, it did give me a little jolt of happiness. And then with these two,
That's
I
nice.
really like the mandala qualities.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I think with these, both of these, I kind of look and then I look again to see what it is I'm looking at. And I, you know, that moment of presence that both of you have caused me to have in myself, I'm very appreciative for that. So I just wanted to mention that because same thing here. I mean, you know, I like it initially and then I'm like, peering at it to see what it is. And again, the mandala quality I love. So
Yeah, I think there are two levels of looking at my work. And the first is the first impression, like, oh, look at those nice patterns and colors. And that sort of draws you in. And then as you get closer, it's like, oh, it's, you know, it's a bee, it's a plant, you know, it's a tree, sort of, and then enjoying the repetition and sort of having your eyes sort of get directed in this sort of circular motion. So, yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of these over the last couple of years.
I too enjoy when people sort of look at a painting and see an abstraction and then realize, oh my God, it's a real object and it's an ordinary object.
right.
So yes, thank you for saying that. That feels like I accomplished what I set out to do.
Yeah, and Bennett, I was in my local plant store 2 days ago, and they actually had a big display of green watering cans, and I immediately jumped to your image.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
a lot of my family and friends, they go to Home Depot now and take pictures, or they go to stores and they take pictures of things and they go, you should paint this, you know, so.
Well, that's
But
because
you-
that's what you're known for now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm working on a new series of something different, so we'll see. But thanks.
So the next work is Alpana Mattel's. As I said earlier, she'll be jumping in later on Zoom. So I'll just go over the title. This is Diversity Unified, and it's beads on canvas. And then Dorie, testing the waters.
Okay, so I guess this was from a couple of years ago. I started shooting film again, and I live in Long Branch, so hold on, I gotta let somebody in. Okay, so you have those first couple days of summer when you just kind of venture into the water, and I saw these three girls holding hands, and one trying to be brave and trying to drag the other in, and they were kind of going in and screaming and running back out, and trying to go back in again and screaming and running back out, because it was a little bit rough. But that feeling when the water's cold and it kind of makes you like you want it and you don't want it, it's like that kind of half feeling. But so that's what that one is all about.
And it's gorgeous.
It definitely reminds me of when I was a kid, when I was going to the beach as a kid and experiencing that moment of
the first
into
time,
the
like
water.
because it's it's just the the first couple of days of summer, and the water's still cold here. It's not warm yet, so you get in up to your knees and your feet are already cold. But they were funny the way they were running in and out, and they just I just loved it because it just made me smile taking it.
So this is Vince's Power Are My Words, number 16.
Yeah, this series is about the emotion of words and how they can be destructive and they can be uplifting, and they can be a lot of different things. And after a long time of destructive words, I'm kind of hopeful that maybe the joyful words can be infiltrated into our society. The rest of the piece is all about the surface and the mark making, and that's what brings me joy. So that's what the piece is about. I hope that it's kind of a hopeful, optimistic piece about the future. And
Yeah. And I do want to say on the website, so this presents small on the gallery wall that we see here, but when you there is a feature on the website where you can look at the work larger and get a more in-depth view of smaller pieces like this, and you will be able to see the text in there as well. And at the end, I will show you how to access that so you can see it better. But yeah, Vince, I really love the way you put the texture into such a minimalist way, and your line work is just exquisite on these pieces.
Thanks.
And this is Aaron Dunkel, Salutes and Echoes.
Hi, thanks for including me in the show. This imagery is based on, I think I'm saying his name right, John Nito. He's a Native American artist. This is based on one of his many paintings of cosmic aspirations. And this is all upcycled material that you're looking at. This is kind of one of the things that I like to do. It's one of the things I used to do with my father all the time, is that used to go dumpster diving and things like that. And all the photographs that make up the image of the warrior here is photographs my dad took. They were just really horrible pictures. No one ever liked them. And but they're all pictures of people in our family and things like that. There's pictures from his trips that he would take, and the background is all schematics that are from my job, video editing, and it just was a lot of fun to make this image. The salute is really to people in our past who have brought us up and made us happy and did the best from everything. And then the echo is just back to the past and how we can always just use it as a direction to move forward.
I really like the way that message of moving forward too. And I love the story behind the photos and the fact that, you know, not everyone in your family appreciated the photos.
No, they did not. They're really bad.
But I love that.
It's really just kind of more about connection to my father, who did
Sorry.
we did a lot of work together.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh. If you are on Instagram, which I presume you probably are, look up Discarded magazine.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can submit to it. It's specifically about those pictures that people take and ordinarily would dump them, but there's something about them. Discarded, it's not Discarded photo, it's Discarded magazine. I'm pretty sure.
Discarded magazine. I'll definitely check it
Yeah,
out. Thank you.
check it out on Instagram.
I will.
Okay, and this one is also Vince's. It's Power of My Words, number 10.
Basically what I said a few minutes ago. The only thing I'll add is that there's 20 pieces in the series, and half of them are negative words and half of them are positive words. Some of them can be, used in both ways. So yeah, that's about the only thing different.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Oh, go
Wait,
ahead.
how big are they, Vince?
They're 6 by 8, 6 by 8, 6 by 9.
Oh, okay.
They're,
All right.
Yeah, 6 by 8. Yeah.
So like a
Thanks.
postcard.
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah, and when I uploaded the images into the system, I put the dimensions in. So all of the dimensions are generally how they, it's hard to really make the space look how it would look in real life, but it's generally what Kunstmatrix says to scale would look like. Okay. So Dorie, we are back to you with when work and play
were much the same. Yeah. It was another day that I was sitting at the beach and these kids were just running from one spot to another and digging holes and doing what little boys do. And but there is that time in our lives when we get so involved, like whatever it was they were doing, they had a plan. I was watching them for quite a while, going back and forth and giving each other orders. And, so I guess you can kind of remember that time in your life when you were playing something, but it had, it's the kind of creative play that kids have, but I don't know if they have anymore, but, where they were out and making up their own rules, like they'd have goals and they'd have tasks to do and stuff like that. And that's kind of the feeling that I got from these two little boys with their shovels.
Mm. Nice.
One thing that doesn't show up, I hate to say this. I mean, I should just leave it and not say anything else about it. But the one thing
you
that
have to say it.
I know, but it doesn't show up in the photo. But what was really cool about it, because Long Branch is very diverse, especially in one area. And this one little boy, the little boy on the left, was he was Brazilian. His family was sitting near me and they were speaking Portuguese, and so he's kind of mixed race. And the other little boy was running around with his yarmulke on, and they didn't know each other. They met at the beach and started this. I watched this whole thing evolve, and I thought it was like, just so cool. End of story.
I love that. I mean, and that's how kids are, they're just like, hey, you over there, play with me.
Yeah. Hey, you got a shovel? I got a shovel. Let's work. Yeah.
So our next piece is Beatrice Mady, Out of Touch with the Rhythm and Blues.
Yes, first I'd like to thank you, Christy, for putting together this show. And several people commented about the theme when I had posted it on Facebook, and they said, this is really what we need right now, is joy. Because I think someone else said that shows about the pandemic have all been about doom and gloom and our angst. And this show is really about what is keeping us going, what is making us able to continue. So I just want to thank you for that. During the pandemic, as we're still in the pandemic, haven't really been able to travel like everyone. So I've been spending a lot of time in my immediate neighborhood. I've been walking down to the river and photographing, and actually just lamenting the fact that I haven't been able to go to Manhattan. And so when I look back at my photos to use in this piece, I was thinking, maybe I should steal a line from Billy Joel. I'm in a New York state of mind. And that's where the title comes, Out of Touch with Rhythm and Blues. And so I was kind of lamenting the fact that I hadn't been going to Manhattan, certainly as often as I normally do. And so in this piece, I broke the photo up into 3 different parts. And I do it in Illustrator. So I bring in a photograph that's pixel based, and then I convert it into vectors. So the image on the extreme right is the least refined, and then the middle gets more refined, and the piece on the right is the most refined. So it's kind of like, well, all right, I'm not able to go into the city, but oh, maybe it looks like I can. And yes, there is hope. I can actually go. So that was sort of the thinking behind this piece.
And Beatrice, I actually have a question. What makes you determine the color palette and the shapes to go with the photographic images?
I try to base my colors off of the photograph. And that's why there's a lot of blue in this piece, because it's the Hudson River, it's the sky, it's the city skyline. And the shapes that I use are the shapes that I've been using forever in my digital work and in my paintings. So for, I don't know, at least 30 years, I think I've been using those 3 circles and the shapes that are referred to as swans, the shape at the bottom. And I use arches. And I jokingly said at one point that the arch came from the Holland Tunnel because when I moved to New Jersey from Manhattan, I had driven through the Holland Tunnel so many times, even though the tunnel itself isn't rounded at the top. I was thinking, well, that must be where it's subliminally coming from. So I use those shapes just over and over again. And I hardly ever do horizontals, although I've been doing a few more horizontals these days. But I always divide the picture plane up into 2 parts, the top and the bottom, and it's always divided by that black line.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I have a question of B before we move on.
Go
I
ahead.
have wanted to ask you forever, like that's the shape, that little graphic element that you call the swans. I just wondered if it had some kind of meaning for you. Is it like, how did that, because it's such a signature bee thing. You know, when I see it's on everything I've ever seen that you have. So I was just curious about the history of it then.
Yeah, okay. Well, I refer to it as swans because my nephew, who's now 29, when he came to my studio one time when he was like 5, he said, "Oh, Aunt B, you're painting swans." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that." So I refer to them as swans, but the shape actually comes from a pelican. So I love 13th and 14th century Italian art. Giotto is one of my favorite artists. And so the Christian iconography that one might see in a Giotto or a Cimabue painting, you oftentimes see pelicans sitting in a basket. So there's a mother pelican and it is pecking at its breast to feed its babies. So it's a Christian symbol. And that's originally where it came from. Even though for me, the iconography doesn't mean the same thing. It's just a shape that I really like and I've been using for many years.
Fair enough.
Thanks.
May I say something?
Go ahead.
I think it's beautiful. I love this piece. I think you really nailed it. It's really beautiful.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Oh, sure.
I agree. I really do like this. I like this piece very much also. It's really it's just interesting. It's just really, really intriguing looking at it. Are you a graphic designer by trade by any chance?
No, by training, I am a painter, but I've been teaching graphic design for many years. I teach at St. Peter's, so I guess that's kind of seeped into my consciousness, and maybe
well, you did it very well. The composition is, I think, just excellent. It's really great.
Thanks, Bennett.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement in this piece that it just feels like it's dancing in a way. Yeah.
It reminds me of mid 20th century, which I happen to miss a great deal.
Yeah, we could use a little bit more of the mid 20th century.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, even though it wasn't, you know, it's like, it wasn't best of times, but it was certainly better than this.
There's a lot of hope.
Yeah, let's hope.
Okay. Oh, what's going
Thank
on?
you.
Uh-oh, I pressed the wrong button. Bear with me. I have to. Oh boy.
Yeah, take your
Okay,
time.
bear with me a moment.
Take your time.
Nice hearing you talk about the work, B. I've seen so much of it over so long, and, understanding a little bit more about the iconography in it and your sense of design and all is nice to hear that.
Thanks. I think that is one of the really beneficial things about these artist talks is that you really get to hear what the artist is thinking about. And so looking at the work that we've looked at so far has really been very insightful for me. So I appreciate being able to talk and hear what other people say about their work.
Yeah, it adds so much to it.
It does.
So our next piece is Dancing Girls by Peter Tilgner, who I don't believe is with us tonight. I feel like the reason why I chose this piece is so self-explanatory. It's just a snapshot moment of time of 2 little kids enjoying themselves barefoot in the street. There's something about being barefoot for me personally anywhere. So
Oh,
just like
yeah.
it's like this freeing, I don't know, having bare feet anywhere outside is like just like this wonderful feeling for me. And they just look like they're having a wonderful time. They don't have a care in the world about anyone or anything around them, just that moment. And that's really why I chose this piece to be included in the show. Our next piece, Cheryl Gross.
Uh-oh. Well, what brings me a lot of joy are toys. Last, I think year and a half, I've been like revisiting my my past, my childhood, and trying to like not dwell so much on the horrors of childhood, but more of the happy times. And just about every Sunday, I used to drag my father to the toy store and insist that he buy me something. And he was a sucker, you know. So and also I like to incorporate, like, you know, elements of design just to break up the space. So that's basically it. Also toys and you know, replications of our existence is also my well, I have a thing. I've been working on this series, Extinction to Duplication, and addresses how we will remember what will be lost through duplicating their images using toys, carousels, and fabrications. The images appear playful, but are often cryptic in their message. But we can forget about all that and just revel in the fact that toys are just so wonderful.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like your work in general, like, I mean, there's like a face value to your pieces, but like, and at face value, they're very playful and seemingly not necessarily so embedded in the darkness until you really like look at it and see what your message is. So I like that about your work, the fact that it can be two things at once in a way.
Yeah,
it really kind of brings Calder's circus. Whoever knows that, he would grab like little trinkets and garbage and stuff, and he just put it in his pockets, and then at the end of the day he'd build something. And for me, that's one of my favorite pieces of all times, the whole thing. And this just really kind of recalls that. So for me, this is like a very, very happy piece.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Beatrice again with Gewirtz. Did I say that correctly?
Gewirtz.
Gewirtz.
So I had been spending a lot of time taking walks in nature because that brought joy and happiness. And I think, you know, before when you were saying that just being barefoot outside brought you joy and happiness. And I think there's something about bare feet on the ground. You kind of plug into the earth and it gives you energy. And so taking walks in nature was a joy for me, is a joy for me. And I had my camera, as I do all the time, or my phone. And there was this incredible shadow that was cast by a tree that had no leaves on it yet. And so I started playing with the picture. And a Gewirtz is a very lively folk dance. It's also a type of music where I believe that the beat is on the third, the upbeat is on the third beat. So it's kind of an upbeat musical piece and also a very upbeat dance. Apparently at one point, people used to exchange kisses while they danced, but then I guess it became socially incorrect and they gave each other flowers instead. But I just thought that the shadow looked like a figure dancing. And so I started playing around with that idea. And I liked the colors of nature, but then in the lower portion, I wanted to add a little contrast. So I added the pinks and the orange colors there to just contrast with the blue sky.
And you know what's interesting, Beatrice, is when you mentioned that the shapes of the their swan shapes, when I initially saw the pieces, they reminded me of flip-flops. And I was kind of imagining the flip-flops being lost, like, you know, kicked off to walk again barefoot and onto this path here.
I will forever now see them as flip-flops. Well, I think that's the wonderful thing about abstract shapes is that people can read anything into them.
And so our next piece is, this is Joan Sonnenfeld. She's not with us tonight. This is Jean at Branch Brook Park. And it's you know, an image of a young girl ice skating on a park, you know, and there's all sorts of materials in here, including this is an inkjet print with oil paint, paper, ribbon, vintage lace, and rhinestones with colored pencil. And it's a shame you can't see this piece in person because I know Joan's work, and her mixed media collages, when you see it up close and personal, you could really see those fine details in there. But what I really love about this piece is just the expression on this young woman's face, really in the moment of skating and balancing on that ice there, which is just wonderful for me. And we have RitaMarie's. This one is
Facets 3.
Facets
So
3.
during the pandemic, I did this series. It went on for 6 paintings that I called Facets. And in part, it stemmed from the only time I was getting out of the house during the pandemic was to go walk my dog. And we went to the woods. I went to find different trails. And I was fascinated by all of the shadows with the trees and the branches. You know, I was, as Beatrice reflected earlier, and all of those things. And I would come back and synthesize that. So part of it was the shadows and the crisscrossing, but also I was playing with planes. And the other thing that comes into this is I have a very, very long-standing meditation practice. So in each of these paintings, like here, it's kind of an almost triangle in the center. That's blank. There's nothing there. And that is true for each of the 6 paintings. There's a piece that's not directly in the center, but almost, that is a reflection of the sort of nothingness that you start to approach through a meditative practice. And how this then, you know, it goes out into your whole life. It influences everything in your life. And so that's pretty much it. That as I explored it, the colors changed, and So this is the only one that looks like this.
Mm. There's a vibrational quality to it. It feels like it's just like generating this energy from the circular mass in the middle, which I
Mhm.
really like.
Right, and so the vibration comes out sort of in planes, and some of my other work, I don't have this emphasis on the planes so much. And actually in the work I've been doing since the end of this series, it's very much, there's no planes whatsoever. But again, I think a lot of this was influenced by, just walking through shade and sunlight. And, as the canopy was changing over the course of the year and the landscape was changing and what I could see and what I was synthesizing, it all came in here. And also, those of you who follow me on Instagram know that I have a series called Morning Light, where I take a picture every day of the morning light illuminating something. And it's a, kind of a practice of presence for me. If I realize I didn't take my picture yet, I really kind of zone in to the moment. And that, as I think I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and that has really influenced all of my work, I would say. The light, the angles, the reflection, the emanation, all of that stuff. So anyway, I've talked enough, sorry.
And we somehow got back to zebra pull toy. I don't know how that happened. Let's see, but we
Oh,
were
let me talk about it some more. That's all right, keep going.
But
Never mind.
Alpana's here. And Alpana, this is Twinkling Stars.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Alpana, how you?
I'm good. And I was enjoying everybody's work since 7 o'clock when you started the meeting and listening to all the stories. And they were beautiful. And thank you, Christy, for organizing this show. It's beautiful. The theme is so amazing. So perfect for my work, actually. Yeah.
I agree.
So, this work is joy, right? So the most of you know I work with beads. I'm a versatile artist actually. So I do oil and acrylic too. But like in 2008, I bought an art kit for my daughter. And those were fusion beads, if you know, all of you. So while she was creating small birds and flowers, I started visualizing some designs with it. And since then, I'm creating art with those beads, and that's what it is. So these two pieces are created with fusion beads, if you know those. So it's always joy work with these beads.
Yeah, and Alpana, I don't know. I believe I shared this with you, but if not, I'm going to share it with everyone. Once upon a time, I taught preschool, and one of our fine motor activities was to work with perler beads. So the fact that you use perler beads as one of your art sources is like just for that innovation in itself. I really personally appreciate, and that, preschool, as challenging as it was also a very joyful time in my life teaching, especially when kids were doing, fun little activities that they enjoyed, and perler beads was one of them.
Oh,
and
okay.
So
yeah, it's fun to work with these beads.
Yeah,
they go all over the place, but it's still it's fun to keep them together.
Yeah, and they're very versatile. You can create, abstract and figurative works with them too. It's really interesting medium.
Many times I think I'll go for abstract, I'll make something else, but when I go to my table, just designs start to flow and I cannot do anything, and I start making some designs and all that. So that's what happens with me when I'm working.
And it must be very therapeutic too.
Yeah, it's very meditative. I enjoy it. It relaxes my mind. It seems to me like it's relaxing.
I think Molly asked the same question in the chat just now, but I was wondering, like, for something like this or any of your pieces, because I know them now, do you have like a sketch underneath
No,
that you
no, for these designs, I don't sketch anything. I just go to my workplace and whatever comes to my mind, I start it and it shapes up in some way.
You know, that's really impressive, especially with something like this, because it's very geometric. And I feel like, like personally, well, I'm not a math person. So like, I just have to be like starting it.
You
and
can
restarting
go
it.
on. I just started my video YouTube channel just because of that, because many people wanted to see how I work. Do I have some blueprints for that? So I started that videos, preparing videos, and you can see it on YouTube. And you will see there is nothing under it.
Mm-hmm.
I just start, some of them are from the beginning, from the first beat. So you will know how I do it. So no planning, it just goes when I start it. If I'm making some figure or flower or something else, then I have to draw something ahead of time because I need a shape of what I'm going to work with. But for these designs, I don't plan anything.
I don't know how you get the lines so straight. That's what you just said just blew my mind. I'm sorry. Like looking at this, like.
Thank you so much. I'm feeling like I'm doing something. That's good. Thank you.
That's crazy. Great.
Okay. Next, we have Cheryl again with married couple. I want to hear the story behind the married couple.
Well, you know, like, let's face it, we live in a coupled world, you know, and I don't know, when I was doing the whole toy series, I just came up with this idea that it seems like a very unlikely couple, but they're happy together. Yeah. So, you know, like, why judge them? It's just part of my quirky fantasy. I mean, like, I can go into a story about it. It could be like a children's book or, you know, a novel of some kind, but it you know, like, I can go into a narrative, but it's really just about two toys getting together and sharing space. You know.
I really love the details on this piece, particularly the fact that it looks like the penguin has like a zip up jacket and his little wind up toy in the back. And just like the way the frog is standing, it looks like he's kind of leaning over on that one little ankle there, like a little shy.
Well, I do work from photo reference a lot. So these are actual toys.
Oh, okay.
But I of course I distorted them and I put my own take on them. But yeah. I wanted to get some animation in there as well. So yeah, that's you know, you have the leg a little bent and the eyes kind of looking at you, and you know, yeah.
Very nice. Dorie, I noticed there's a lot of people talking in the chat. Should I like be looking at that?
It's, well, Molly's in there.
Okay. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Molly.
Molly's just about the only one that's talking.
Molly should.
Okay. Molly's
I'm answering her.
Yeah.
I have
Molly
the
should
chat
just
open, but
turn her microphone on.
So this is Louis Alves, Chocolate Cheerios, Barack. I mean, what can I say about Louis? We all know Louis, right?
oh yeah.
I love his work, and I love his very cheeky, satirical collages and whatnot, and the details that he puts in them. You know, may reduce heart disease, made with real cocoa. And I just love the expression on Barack Obama's face. He's just like, he looks like he's, you know, he's taking up space and having a good time doing it. And I love that. So, yeah. And then we have Rita's facets 4.
So, I mean, what I said about the last one is still true for this one. I think the other thing is my work is always very painterly, and color is also a major component of anything I work on. And with these, there was sort of an underlying geometrical structure to begin with. And if you can kind of see, like on the left-hand side where there's this yellow line kind of coming in, it's got a red border below it, and then this other, that there's like areas where there's an awful lot of texture here that of course you don't really necessarily see on a video display terminal. And these paintings, I should mention, you can see they're quite a bit larger than the other ones. They're like 48 inches square. So
Wow, that's
pretty
good.
immersive when you're standing in front of them. You know, you're kind of sucked into this work. And this one's kind of got this vortex thing going as well. None of them are just flat geometric. They're all moving in and out of space. And you know, the painterly scribbling and stuff is more obvious in some pieces than in others. But anyway, I mean, the background to it is the same background as to the other one we saw.
And this one, it has like this feeling of like being like in mid-flight, like like I'm like it almost have this like this motion feeling of like going through a vortex, as you said. So you really get that feeling.
And the other thing, and I didn't thank you, Christy. Thank you for this show, and thank you for including me. Thank you to Pro Arts. The other thing I just want to mention is for each of these, I was looking for the joy that's in the moment, even though we were going through whatever we were going through. And, you know, I mean, I kind of live in that space. So these were, when I saw the prospectus for the show, I thought, oh, I didn't know if you'd see what I was aiming at, but for me, these fit right in there.
Nice.
I see a person in this.
Does anyone see a bird? I'm seeing a bird.
I'm seeing a
And
person.
I don't know if you were thinking about a bird, but I can't get it out of my head now. It's just there.
Yeah, well, probably flight. Yeah. It's funny because,
Yeah.
you know, whenever, I mean, my work is abstract. This sort of strong geometry is unusual for me. But whenever people see my work, I'm always interested to see, you know, I think you're completing it. And I think the flight thing is definitely there. So yeah, birds, absolutely.
I see a robot.
You see what?
A robot.
A robot?
Yes.
Yeah, I see a guy flying.
Yeah, there's definitely flight. Yeah.
So are you seeing the beak in the little
Yeah.
sort of center area that's
I
that
see
goes
that.
back into nothingness, so to speak? So in this case, there was a little hint of color. It wasn't raw canvas.
Seems like superhero or someone.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
Well, good. Bringing us through.
Thank you.
So our next piece is by Brian McCormick. This is Steal This Picture. And this is a snapshot that Brian took while he used to work on staff with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And this is basically they did like a crew shot, and he had set up the camera ahead of time and was running back. You know how like the cameras have the timer on it, and he was running back to get back into the picture. And I think the camera fell and he had to go and fix it and then run back again before the snapshot got taken. And this was the end result of that, where everyone laughing in the moment of that occurring. And so this picture is not for sale. However, he has invited anyone who's interested to just print it out on their computer and have it if they'd like. And this is Lewis's chocolate peanut butter Cheerios with Barack and our current president, Joseph R. Biden. And I just love this piece. It's very salty in my opinion. So yeah, I love it. And I love in the corner it says no artificial flavors or colors. And we have another one of Lewis's. This is chocolate Cheerios with Michelle. And again, all of these pieces just really resonate with the feeling of joy and humor. And you can't get joy without a little humor, right?
Right.
Our next piece is Jim Fallon's Bright Moments.
Yes, that's because of the darkness of the pandemic. I use a lot of colors. My main interest is usually in music or nature. I can relate to Beatrice saying that she was going through the Holland Tunnel a lot. I used to own a jazz club in the village. So I did the Holland Tunnel trip many times, as you did.
What club did you, what club?
The half note.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's a lot of the piano, the bass, the couple of guitars, and Bright Moments was a tune that was written by Rajan Roland Kirk, and that was my thought when I was doing this: bright moments, bright colors, and the instruments, there's quite a few in there. It took a while because every day I would come in and put in another instrument, and it all turned out what I thought was pretty good. So I appreciate everyone, and your artwork is amazing, and I want to thank everyone for being in it and including me in this wonderful, wonderful piece. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being in the exhibition with us, Jim. This piece is just, I mean, it really exemplifies the feeling of joy. There's just like this motion, this movement, this exuberant feeling of being in the moment of this music occurring, and you can just feel it in the piece.
Yeah, jazz has really been in my life ever since I was a kid. So that continued on to this day. So thank you, everyone.
Great piece.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It kind of reminds me of the German expressionist paintings where color just explodes off the surface of the canvas. And yeah, there's so much energy, and it's all positive energy here. It's really nice, Jim.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
Really nice.
Thanks a lot.
Our next piece is Kay Brown. She invented yellow. I'm not sure if Kay is in the Zoom. She did say she was going to join us, but Dorie, is she in here?
I never let her in. So I mean, she didn't ask to come in, so I don't know if
Okay.
she's here.
Okay.
I'll check though. No.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those pieces. It's just there's so much movement and dance, like it just feels like it's dancing and moving with us. And it's a mixed media collage on canvas, and the dress itself is just like it's like popping off the canvas, and the expression on the woman's face, just she's so, you know, in the moment of this just joyful dance, and another reason why I wanted this piece to be included in the exhibition. And we're back to Cheryl with the toy elephant.
Again.
Oh my God. I'm just reliving my past here. Well, as you know, I love toys. As a matter of fact, I have an adopted grandson, and they moved. They used to live in the building, lived here for like 6 years, and they were throwing away his tricycle, and I asked them if I could have it, and so they gave it to me. So I have this tricycle in the middle of my space, and it's taking up room, but yeah, you know, so maybe I'll do a painting of that. Who knows?
Have you ever illustrated a children's book before?
Never. Well, yes, but it wasn't bought, but I have illustrated books. I
Okay.
illustrated for Jimmy Stewart, Random House. So yeah, you know, I illustrated a few books.
I feel like you would make you would be able to create the most wonderful children's stories if you wanted to.
Well, you know what it is? It's the writing.
Yeah.
And it's not that I can't write, because I can write, but it's a particular kind of writing.
Yeah.
And then it's also, you have to deal with the industry and the agents and this and that, you know, so I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe if I find the right person, and I do have connections, but like, I don't know. You know, I guess I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I'm having fun with Pro Arts, so Jersey City. So I think I just might stick to this for a while.
Okay. Very nice. And we are back to the beginning. Alpana, did you want to talk about your other piece?
It's the same, like I use beads for that. If anybody has any question after seeing it, I can reply that.
Yeah, I love your work. We still have
Thank
to
you
do a
so much.
trade.
And I love your work too.
Yeah, we still have to do a trade. It's just,
Right.
you know, like I just have to say one thing. This fucking pandemic is such a goddamn pain in the ass. You know, I mean, it's like, for God's sake.
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh my God, I just, you
What
know.
a joyful comment.
Yeah, really.
When it happened, I was
There
like,
goes our
oh,
PG rating on this video.
Yeah, really.
oh.
Yeah,
It's
I can
okay,
say,
Cheryl.
I can say about this piece that this is not just one pattern. You can you zoom it?
Yep.
So as you are seeing that it's not one pattern, so I had the idea of having like many colored papers on my hand and putting them together. So that's that kind of collage I was making here.
Alpana, I do have a question.
Okay.
Can you see my arrow tool here?
Yes.
I was wondering what this particular, was this supposed to be like a signature here, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I used to write A with my Alpana in my previous work, but later I adopted Tejaswini as my pen name for artist journey. So it's T.
Okay.
Does it look like T?
It does, and that's what
Okay.
I thought it was, but I just wanted to confirm that, because a part of me was like, well, maybe it's not.
Yeah. So if you have done scrapbooking, so you know those colored papers, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's what it is, like collage, paper
Yes.
collage type thing.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you.
And I'm just gonna zoom out and kind of, oh, no. Oh boy. I'm just gonna try to scan the room so you can see what it looks like when you're looking
What a great
around.
show. It's really strong work, and I'm really happy to be in this show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Same here.
Same here.
Yeah,
here.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a wonderful
Thank you.
show.
Thank you very much.
It's an elegant presentation.
Mhm.
And that is the
Very
exhibition.
nice. Yeah.
Yay.
I think
Good
Yay.
job, everybody.
Good job.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, Cheryl. I didn't know I could unmute myself. That's why I was like typing.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. I told you at one point to just talk.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I said, well, you should just be talking.
I didn't realize so many additional people joined us. Hello, everyone.
They were hiding on another screen over there. So.
Thank you again.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, Christy.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for being a part of the exhibition, and thank you, ProArts, for partnering with me to put on this show. I hope everyone found a
Oops,
little
wait,
bit.
somebody's coming. Okay.
Okay,
I just had to let somebody in.
they're coming in late.
Fashionably late, I guess. And I just
Bye-bye.
Bye.
wanted to say
Bye.
one thing.
Only one
Everybody's
thing?
leaving?
Oh, it's okay. You
Oh.
can tell me, Dorie.
Oh, I
I'm
thought
listening.
I thought a bunch of people were leaving. But on
here.
social media, you'll probably see your piece because they're getting put up.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
I,
Who's
I, I, one was put
Thank
up
you.
yesterday of your day
Okay.
before. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, throughout the month, we'll be highlighting individual artists' works and whatnot on the various Instagrams and Facebook pages.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Well, I
you.
guess Fabricio is going to miss the
Okay.
party.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Bye.
connected with audio now.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Beautiful.